Welcome back, everybody, to WCS America Group F action. While we're getting ready for our next series, it's going to be the losers match between Illusion and hendralisk. The winner, of course, will move on to play in the deciding match of today to determine who is going to advance to the round of 16. It's a different format than we normally use. Normally, we do the winners match first, but I actually kind of like this, Nate, because from this point on, every match is an elimination match.
Yep, that's right. Of course, you guys can see Alicia took a pretty swift 2-0 over hendralisk, and likewise, Tudming 2-0 over Illusion. So Alicia and Tudming will face off in the winners match, but of course, it's time to find out who the first player out of this group is. And unlike prior times, we're seeing who's first out in the bad way. hendralisk versus Illusion, Terran versus Zerg, and this is one of those situations where two non-Koreans have to take each other out in the first match.
Yeah. I would lie if we say we've never seen it before, Nate, because it has happened many times. But it's going to be a great match, I think, regardless. Complexity, of course, Complexity is hendralisk. It's been a really exciting Zerg to follow for a long time, and he's also someone who specifically practices for an opponent, not just for the matchup in general. And most of the time, he brings something crazy and a little different to the table. Illusion, on the other hand, is also a wild player. Is in a way the same as hendralisk, but I would say Illusion doesn't necessarily do something because he thinks it's good against a player. He just likes to be different. It's a different way of being crazy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, when you're the wild card guy, it's hard to predict you. It's hard to do anything. If you want to try to take advantage of the way that Illusion plays, it's not really possible. You just have to be aware of what's going on, scout it coming, and then either defend it or be able to punish it in whatever way possible, such as Tudming with that large Baneling attack in Game 2 of their original series. So hendralisk, I think, being another North American player, obviously has played Illusion many times. I wouldn't be surprised that he knows what Illusion is capable of, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's ready for whatever he brings. I feel like if Illusion tries to do some sort of early aggressive attack against hendralisk, he's going to have a hard time because Henry, we know, he's a very good player and he's very smart when it comes to dealing with aggressive players.
Yes, he is. I'm pretty excited for this one, Nate. We are going to have to wait a few minutes before we can start our next series, as Illusion was on the impression that he had a few best of 3 or full best of 3 to get ready for the next one, because normally we do the winners match first, and apparently he was not aware of our new little format. But that shouldn't be a big deal. We can definitely fill a couple of minutes. Of course, once again, hashtag WCS if you want to reach out to us. I saw a couple of people talking about the Reaper on Overgrowth that took a lot of damage. You guys were not supposed to tweet that.
Yeah, some people told me it took a bit of damage.
Yeah, well, they were spot on. I don't know from who they've heard, but that Reaper did take some damage. Either way, we're just going to wait a couple of minutes. It's a big series for both of them. Let's theory craft, Nate. Who of these two do you think has a better chance in the deciders match against the loser of Tudming versus Alicia? Okay, let's take it from the top. Who do you think is going to win our winners match? I
don't see any way that Alicia loses to Tudming.
Really?
I'd be really surprised.
What makes you say that? Weren't you impressed with Tudming in last season?
I mean, Tudming didn't play poorly, but Alicia got further. Alicia's historically better. Alicia has their high performances and very high-end tournaments. Whenever I think about Alicia, I always go back and I'll always continue to use the same reference back to MLG taking on MKP. I was able to see that game live. He's just been around for a really long time, competing on a high level for a very long time, and Alicia is one of those players that, despite not being maybe the most outspoken of our Koreans, is definitely one of the very good ones that has a solid chance of winning this whole tournament, let alone getting out of this group.
So you put him that high? You put him among the Bombas, the Tasias in this WCS America season?
I don't know if I'd put him over Tasia on these maps, but I'd probably put him over Tudming.
Okay, well, that's fair. I don't know. I think you're underestimating Tudming a bit. I think Tudming is very good. He has surprised me a lot last season. He was very impressive. I also think that his ZVP is pretty fun. Then again, Alicia often is like simplicity, yet flawless execution. He does these strategies that we all know, and if we try to copy him, we're kind of like, these threats are really not that good. But then when you see Alicia do them, it somehow just all connects and it all works. So that answers one part of our question. Who do you think has a better chance against Tudming? Do you think it's hendralisk or do you think it's Illusion?
I think I'd pick hendralisk. Hendralisk being able, we saw how well he dealt with Scarlet in Challenger. I don't think the way that Illusion already playing Tudming panned out gave really a clear showing of what Illusion could do in the late game. But if the early game if he gives enough footing for Tudming to defeat him in the way that he did, and he can't kill him with the weird aggressive plays like that command center lift then I feel that hendralisk ZVZ we've already seen is good enough to probably take out anybody that's competing in this tournament at least.
I couldn't agree more, and yeah, you know, hendralisk CVZ has been indeed very solid. I'm just trying to communicate with the admin and the players a little bit as well on the side. I believe that our first map is going to be Way Station. I think we already did the videos, but Illusion just went to the bathroom, apparently splashed some water in his face, and he's currently AFK, but hopefully he'll be back soon. I think it's going to be a really good series, a really important one regardless. Of course, even if you don't make it to the round 16, there's still a small difference in WCS points as well, so that is always nice to compete for. It's always good to put it on your track record, you know. Every WCS point that you get it, like, I never had a WCS point in my life, Nate. I would like those 50 WCS points. That makes the difference between spot 4 and 3.
Will 2 racks for points, Kev. get us on the scoreboard, even if it's the bottom.
All right. Well, invites have gone out. I'm not sure if this means that Illusion is actually here or not. But once again, we'll of course be back tomorrow and the day after as well with more WCS. It's been a really crazy week for us. Last week, you've guys seen us multiple times. Yesterday, we did the Red Bull Battlegrounds qualifier, and I guess we can talk a little bit about that. I think it was a super fun qualifier for North America. We saw some absolutely fantastic games.
Yeah, I think my favorite series that we got to cast yesterday was probably State versus Pult. As much of a Terran player as I am, as much of a Pult fanboy as I am, it was really cool to see those matches. And then, actually, I'd even go again with State versus Puck. Was nuts. The King Sejong Station map was crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. If you guys were like, there was Red Bull tournaments going on as well, just keep a close eye on twitch.tv/Red Bull Esports or go to battlegrounds.redbull.com. You guys can find all the information. There is a next tournament on Thursday, so if you are an aspiring North American Terran, Zerg, or Protoss player, and you'll be like, hey, I want to compete. If you're Diamond League or higher, you guys can all sign up for that tournament, and you might just be casted by Nate and me, and you might just run into someone like Bolt. Overall, I think yesterday was a super fun day. I can't wait for Thursday, but yeah, it's going to be a busy week of North American StarCraft. Today, WCS, tomorrow, WCS, and Wednesday, WCS as well. And then we wrapped up the entire round of 32, so then we can already mentally prepare ourselves for the round of 16, which of course will be played a little further down the road. We'll take a couple of weeks off, but you guys will have plenty of StarCraft entertainment coming your way with a lot of Red Bull qualifiers, and of course the main event, DreamHack, is coming. Home Story Cup is next weekend, which is always just one hell of a party. And then of course, before we start WCS America round of 16, we'll also have MLG Anaheim. So overall, Nate, what a month.
This month is just nuts for StarCraft. I'd be impressed if you could find a way to keep track of everything that's going on. There's just gonna be an absurd amount of games, really. I don't have any other way to put it. Probably gonna be one of the more difficult months to follow this year as far as games go.
All right, well, we're just going to talk a little bit with our admin. Okay, actually, Illusion is here. Yay! Never mind, guys. I was about to be that guy that you don't want me to be. Like, stay tuned. We'll be right back after the next commercial break. It's like, no, rather than shut up. Bring us some StarCraft.
I want my games. Yes. And I want them now.
Well, they are... Either way, Illusion just joined the lobby and he said, what happened? I just took the quickest shower. LOL. Well, Illusion, you are going to get ready to play your game against hendralisk. So we're almost good to go, guys. We apologize for the inconvenience, and hopefully this will never happen again.
Never, ever.
Ever. This was a disaster. I can't believe that this is esports, Nate.
It's apocalyptic levels. But we're in the lobby, so Way Station I think is going to be cool for Terran versus Zerg. I think
Illusion is like, what happens? Double cannon rush or something with no commercial?
he's like the series. Oh, he thought the series is already over.
He's like, who won? It's like 6-4 against cannon rush.
He just sent his probes. Like, just go.
Hey, those probe rushes, they have made it to the GSL before, Nate.
So, so I've heard. Some high level meta right there. Okay, so Way Station we know is 2 spawns. I would love to see. I don't know why. I just love seeing Illusion 2 racks. So I'm gonna say if we get the close spawns, if we get the bottom left versus top right, it's gonna be a 2 racks. I don't know what hendralisk will do. I don't know if I care, but I feel I feel it.
So you mean if it's close spawn position, correct?
Yeah. Like if it's top left versus bottom left versus top right, then it's really short rush distance.
True, but don't you also feel that on that position? You know, I know that you're struggling to like this in the current meta, but don't you think when you spawn close spawn on Way Station, that mech is a pretty strong option?
On Way Station?
With the close spawn, not like the further away, but the close one, I actually think it's quite deadly.
Mech?
Yeah. Just like one big push. You know the way that Balloon played against Stefano in my show match?
If by mech you mean Hellbats, like sub 10 minutes, big push, maybe?
Yeah, and then like follow it up with like 2-3. I'm not saying like 200 supply mech sit back, but I'm saying like some Hellion pressure with some cloak
You don't have a long way to go to get to the Zerg's base, yeah.
And then like a quick follow-up with a bunch of Taurs and an SUV, a few Hellions in the mix. I believe, Nate.
I don't know if Illusion still does any mech.
I believe in it. I believe in a thing called mech.
No.
Yes. Either way, as you guys can see behind us, the game is ready behind us. Or the game is ready in front of us as well. And the game was up behind us and ready in front of us. While Farsight is going to keep our WCS America tradition alive by making sure that we see his name highlighted and we see the beautiful countdown. As Complexity's hendralisk, of course, big shout out to Complexity as well for showing a lot of love and support to the StarCraft scene for a long time already. It's real cool to see this North American team showing this consistent love to their players.
Yeah. Complexity's been around forever, it feels, in StarCraft. I think, who's like the longest standing StarCraft member? I think it's QXC.
Yeah.
Alright, well, we can see both players are flexing their keyboards, getting ready. Illusion with the 1A, he's practicing his GG as well.
Oh, that is funny. Alrighty. Well, Nate. And of course, in the right top side of the map, actually, we're just going to wait because we want to show you guys flags. It's all about the flags. It's Canada versus America. If this was a hockey final, Nate, who would you prefer?
Wait. Oh, Canada and America?
Yeah.
I've heard Canada's pretty good at hockey.
Yes, they are. Over here on the left bottom side of Way Station, representing Complexity, it is hendralisk. The beautiful maple leaf. Bam. Going up against the root player Chris Lee, also known as Illusion, being our red Terran player spawning on the right top side of Way Station. Of course, representing the stars and stripes of America.
Oh, he's not proxying any barracks, Rotterdam.
Nate, I don't know you like this. I thought you were the macro Terran beast.
I never do.
Why are you craving this 11-11 that much?
I always love to watch proxy barracks games because I'm too scared to do it myself. I never 2-rack Zergs. I can't.
But I've seen your ladder stream, and I've seen you on Tilt, and I've seen you 2-racks for days.
If I'm mad, I'll do it and lose. But
sometimes
stuff like this always happens, right? The one map where you would do it. See, I would say to do it, and then he would have gotten scouted because he drone scouted.
Then you see the pool go down.
So I'm already on Tilt.
Like, of course he drone scouts.
Of course he would drone scout.
Lucky.
That's exactly when I would want a 2-racks.
Alright, well, hendralisk is going to confirm that the Rex is going up where it is supposed to go up. We see also the refinery go down. Wouldn't be surprised to see Illusion with a very similar playstyle to what we saw in Overgrowth. Even though that 9 Rex follow-up was a little crazy. We laughed about it, we were confused, but if you try to make sense of it, Nate, you as a high-level Terran player, what do you think is the thought process behind it, other than obviously trying to produce a lot of Marines, but why do it in that way and not in the traditional way?
So Illusion is a Terran player that, if there's anything that we know him for, you know, you and I, we've played a lot with him, we talked to him a lot. He's really good micro, really good at splitting Marines. If Illusion can get a crazy amount of production like that rolling that he wanted to do in those games, Medivacs aren't even as big of a deal if you split your Marines so well that none of them take damage aside from the initial stim. So I don't think that Illusion was doing it just because he felt he wouldn't have enough units, but if he can get out a couple extra Marines earlier in exchange for those slightly later Medivacs, then he can take advantage of that best just with his good control. So that's the primary reason I can think of for why he would do that.
It's a little different already as we see a quick reactor being added to this barrack. So it's a single Reaper into a reactor. We'll see where he takes it. It's kind of funny as well because you would say that the 3 Reapers are a little more effective on Way Station than they are on Overgrowth, as the rush distance between both players, between both bases are smaller, at least if you spawn like this.
Yeah, and I mean there's also that extra area in your main base that the Reapers can jump up if they want to try to deal damage. Picks off one drone.
Ah.
Not bad by Illusion to get a quick kill like that, especially since he made 6 slings.
Sometimes less is more, Nate. 3 Reapers, 0 drone kills, 1 Reaper, 1 drone kill.
It's a power.
Oh, maybe, oh my god, he's getting a second drone as well. Wow, hendralisk perhaps being caught off guard here a little bit. Slightly distracted or a little nervous.
You ever hear the law of ninjas?
No.
The more you have, the less effective they are. When there's only 1 ninja, you can take out the whole army, but when you have 3 Reapers, they just can't get anything done.
But why? What does it have to do with ninjas?
It's just like it's like a movie trope. but it applies to a lot of things, specifically this Reaper being particularly badass.
So if this Reaper was a ninja, what would his name be?
I don't know. Call him Rick because he's a Reaper. Stick with the R's.
I wish there was a ninja outfit for Reapers. That would be awesome.
The ninja skin. Yeah. Make it happen, guys.
Ninja skin. Reapers jumping up and down.
That'd be awesome.
Having sound effects as well, like hiya. That would be great. Few Marines working on this Overlord. Overlord perhaps being a little bit confused as well and making sure that he knows what's going on. These Hellions are going to be pretty quick after just that single Reaper opening from Illusion. But above all, I don't think that this Overlord has seen those 2 additional Rexes. That is a crazy follow-up again. It's a little different than what we normally see. There is no 3rd command center on the way just yet. Do you think Illusion is afraid on these spawning locations of a crazy push of hendralisk? While we do see the Roach Warren going down.
Yeah, I think this is, if there's any map to be afraid of early aggression from anybody, it's on this map. And as much as I joke about Illusion being an aggressive player that can be very cheesy, this is not a bad map for hendralisk to try to abuse Illusion playing another macro opening. The difference this time, though, is that Illusion, instead of getting a 3rd command center, went straight up to 3 barracks. So his Marine production should actually be more than enough to stop a Roach Ling push. What's going to be the real decider in this is this Baneling nest that's on the way. He needs to get
but this
on those Marines.
You would normally say that this is good news for Illusion because he dropped those 2 additional Rexes. He's going to have more units than he normally has.
He still needs another bunker or 2. Like you can't.
And he needs this to be turned into a Marauder. This Marine portrait has to be replaced by a Marauder.
Yeah, the best way for me to put this, and he's actually getting an armory, so he actually wants to do a big push himself. But the best way for me to describe to you what Illusion needs to do is he cannot afford to take any economic damage because he's only on 2 orbital commands. And
oh my god,
he's so roaches.
No, he didn't see them. He's so close to seeing those roaches, but he has not seen those roaches moving out yet. Wow, Illusion, that's so important. Now he's going to see them, but he doesn't know that there are already 5 roaches on the north side. Of course, we'll most likely fire up Marauders immediately. We see 8 Banelings being morphed now outside of the Illusion's base. I'm a little worried. He needs more bunkers.
He needs to raise his depot as well. Those Hellions really need to get home. They're continually being denied access, and those are some of the best ways to deal with those Zerglings that are going to continue to rally across the map. The armory is going to complete. He starts a 2nd bunker, but is it in time? There's no workers here to repair this bunker.
He's also lowering the depots. Well, these Hellions getting a couple of good shots off on these Banelings. So far, good splits, I think, by Illusion. Great positioning by Illusion. I actually think he's going to be able to defend this.
Yeah, really nice control so far. All the Banelings gone. He's got his Hellbats here. Of course, Roach is still pretty beefy. More Zerglings running across the map. Are those Hellbats going to be enough to stop this? He's continuing to put Marines out of this 3 racks, but there's a lot of Zerg here, Kev.
There is a new bunker, though. Bunkers are good. Can repair that bunker for a while. I love the way that hendralisk tried to surround it, but I still think the repair is going to be good enough. Of course, a few SCVs will go down in the process, but this was a big commitment by hendralisk, and Illusion is 3 racks really paying dividend.
Yep, not really killing any workers at all. He reset the army count, but this is still not an army that you want in the late game as a Zerg player. Roach Baneling is not really going to do it versus a Bio player that can split well. The lair will be done soon. I can only imagine that hendralisk just goes straight to Aspire. He doesn't have many other choices since he has no evolution chamber.
Yeah, the Aspire might actually be that effective either against this early 3 racks, and Chris is not really taking a whole lot of economic damage either. He's going
maybe Baneling speed for this. I don't know.
Definitely
Baneling speed, Roach speed. That's so. Yeah,
you
made a good point. I don't even know if it needs to be Hyun style. This could just be for a big follow-up attack. Like he could just try to push when Baneling speed and Roach speed finish with just more units.
Alrighty.
The fact is he has no evolution chambers, so.
But you said you think I made a good point. Regulate on it. I like hearing that I had a good point.
Okay, well, you said he had the 3 barracks, right? So obviously this is not one of those situations where you can catch the Terran player off guard and not have anti-air. His engineering bays are finishing up, so he has the option to get missile turrets. If you make Mutalisks, he could just counterattack and kill him. So the Baneling speed is nice because he can catch any Marines that come on to creep. The Roach speed is nice because it allows him to reinforce very quickly if Illusion overextends, and it basically allows him to go for a huge counter push. So let's see if he can hold on to this 3rd base. He has to clear out a lot of creep. Actually, he's going to morph straight these Hellbats.
The sound of Hellions going into Hellbats is kind of cool. The Transformers!
Hellbats kill more than meets the eye. As picks up a few more links, of course. No medevacs make every stim a dangerous game to be ping. It is, you know, he's actually pummeling these roaches. He's trying to run the Marines away. The Banelings detonate on Marauders too.
Illusion is doing a very, very effective job. He still has a lot of his bio units alive. I love how that one Hellbat was trying to soak up as many Banelings as possible. He was stimming, but still shooting at the roaches, but moving away from the Banelings. He took out the Banelings on the south side. Great little push here by Illusion. He's not going to win the game, but he's really making this worth it.
Yeah, he definitely is, and I feel like he's done a fantastic job of making sure to continue to clean up the roaches. Roach speed and Baneling speed have completed. However, Illusion, he's got the 3rd command center coming in. No bunkers. So I feel like he's got enough production to hold on if another attack came, because he really slowed down hendralisk quite a bit with all the gas units that he was able to pick off.
I think as this is kind of like a reverse way right now of how this matchup is sometimes played, but I think if Illusion just keeps pressuring with a small group of units and getting some map presence and just keep forcing hendralisk to make units, hendralisk is going to have a really hard time to ever get a very intimidating Zerg army out. He's on 60 workers right now, or close to 60 workers, so it's not all bad news for hendralisk, but he has no upgrades. He has Baneling speed and Roach speed, but that's about it. You know, Roach Bane is only good up to a certain point in the game.
Yeah, and now that +1 attack and armor are finishing up for Illusion, this Bioforce gets that much stronger. Upgrades only just now beginning for hendralisk, and look at these Hellions transforming now on top of this Queen, man. Hellbats actually destroy Queens.
Yeah, they actually
it's pretty gnarly.
Damage. The Queen's burning down looks really funny as well. Yeah. Such a big fire. Wants me to get my marshmallows out, Nate. Put them in the roasted queen. Yeah. A lot of Banelings being morphed, so plenty of Banelings for hendralisk, 9 and a few more on the way. It's all going to come down to the split from Illusion. So far they're pretty excellent again. Still has a small group of Marines over here alive on the right side. And oh well, if these Banelings are able to connect with the Marines, well, Illusion again doing a good job with running his Marines around. Saves a few units, but above all, this was an expensive hold again for hendralisk.
Yeah, definitely. A 3rd command center.
But
now turning into an orbital for Illusion, 2-2 on the way for him.
Of course, we have to give credit where credit is due as well. And hendralisk is doing a really good job and just like barely hanging in there. It's not like he's absolutely crushing the attacks. He's kind of doing what you want to do as a Zerg on his low economy. Just barely make enough units to stabilize and not die, and then be able to perhaps get a few more drones out. So it's definitely not all bad news. And he is spreading some creep as well, which is going to make it a lot harder for Illusion to push in the near future. So maybe it's not as bad for hendralisk as I thought it was, but I am worried about these 2 upgrades that are on the way, this 3rd orbital that's flying over, and of course we all know that Illusion is a great Marine splitter if he gets to it.
Yeah, it also comes down to making sure that he takes engagements off of creep, because he had to split the last fight while very, very heavily extended onto it. But he's producing 2 tanks at a time now, so this is a setup that annihilates Roach Baneling. Like, you go Marine tank, Roach Baneling. There's a reason why this wasn't super popular in Wings of Liberty.
Exactly. Of course, Roach is good against... I mean, Roaches can be okay against tanks if you're able to catch them off guard, but then there are the bio units, and Roach is not very effective against bio units. We have a small drop as well on the left bottom side. Sporecrawler, I think, was able to shoot down at Medevac, or... Actually, Medevac is still alive, but... Illusion not really able to make a whole lot happen over here, but he does keep hendralisk on his side of the map while he's establishing this 3rd base and making sure that it's safe. So overall, unit composition definitely in favor of Illusion if this continues. And so far, it seems like this will continue for a while. I mean, this is sort of like Hyun has won so many games with this composition, though.
Yeah, the most important thing is that Illusion does not have all of his tanks unsieged at any one point in time when he starts to push onto the creep. This medevac drop, it's going to clean up a few lings, loses 1 Marine before he picks up. So, you know, it's trading well, at least with that drop. But, you know, for the drops that he's lost prior, it's still not quite what he wants.
I don't think hendralisk is aware of this army on the right side of the map. So look at all these Zerglings.
Well,
they're going to run straight into this army. A lot of Zerglings will fall without really achieving anything. Like you said, he does know now. Tanks are on siege, so hendralisk is going to go for it immediately. A couple of Banelings swing in from the right side.
What a great surround. Wow. hendralisk just swallows this army whole. Oh, man, Illusion, that's one of those fights where you have a couple tanks, but I'm really curious as to, I guess if he was in a better position, that many tanks could have been useful, but this was still not enough to make that push work.
hendralisk is going to go for the counterattack immediately. He's up in army supply, but not overwhelmingly, but he will be able to jump on top of these 2 tanks immediately. Roach is getting close enough. Bio units, however, are putting out a lot of damage, but here come the Banelings again. A lot of Banelings being used on just 1 or 2 Marines. Will Illusion be able to muster out enough units to stabilize? I think he might actually, Nate.
Yeah, this is I mean, Roaches are still not really late game units. 2-2 is done, so Bio can start to trade really well versus Roaches, but he still needs to make sure he doesn't get overwhelmed. Even with the medevac healing, those Roaches put out a lot of burst damage.
Illusion tried to pick off a couple of these Banelings that were morphing a little too close to his base. He should probably throw down a scan as well and pick up a couple of these creep tumors because it's getting way too close. Scan.
Illusion actually attacks some of his siege tanks for a second there.
I've seen it a lot lately, this mutiny. Even yesterday, State attacking his own Nexus. Happens all over the place, Nate.
You gotta whip him into shape. Can't let him get too comfortable. Banelings commit. Oh, that could have been ugly.
I think for Illusion, the most important thing is that he should stop fighting with 140 supply armies and just go up to 170, 180. As once again, these Marines are quite exposed. There's really no need for Illusion to be out there right now. It's not like hendralisk is stacking up to something and that Illusion needs to hit some sort of a timing. No, Illusion just needs to get out a lot of units, enough that he can actually just crush Roachling Bane. And fighting with this amount of army supply, I feel, is exactly what hendralisk wants Illusion to do. Like, yeah, please keep moving out with barely enough units that I can still crush with my Banelings. Because if Illusion just sits back
much. Banelings are going to come in with the Roaches again on these tanks. Some of the Marines next to the tanks take a lot of splash damage, and you said it, Kevin. All those siege tanks cleaned up once again. Illusion retreating once again, and I mean, I don't even know what to say at this point. This tank that's trying to retreat should get caught. Okay, medevac does barely save it. That's fancy, but there's not really that much back home to defend against this counterattack.
Yeah, there's still some army supply. A lot of Banelings rolling on top of the tank and Marines. This is going to be a tougher hold than the previous one. Most of the army supply is probably in medevac, you know. Who said there's no good health insurance, Nate? There are plenty of medevacs for every single Marine out there. And I think that Illusion will be able to stabilize again because of the tank on the high ground. Oh, those Banelings getting a great connection on all these SCVs. Supply is going closer and closer, but actually, like, it's dropping for hendralisk as well, so it should still be possible for Illusion to hang in there.
You said it best, Kevin. So much of his supply is in medevacs. Yeah. It's a bit rough. He's got 11, so 22. Pretty much all of his army supply in medevacs towards the end. GG is called, and hendralisk takes the first map against Illusion.
Which
I have to agree with what you said. Illusion, I think it's not bad to try to make pushes like that, but siege tanks are not widow mines. You cannot just put them down. You can't just like, okay, engage, and then you get something sometimes. No, he didn't even, obviously you at least force overseers at widow mines. Losing just a straight up Roach, Zergling, Baneling with Marine tank, get closer to max out supply, and that you have 7 to 8 tanks, you're not going to break that with Roaches.
No, those fights are going to be so decisive. Like, I really liked it early on what Chris was doing, moving out with those small clumps of bio units, you know, forcing hendralisk to just make units, make Banelings over and over again, slow down his economy while he was having 3 commandants go up at home. And eventually I was like, all right, the moment where he gets an economy of 3 bases up and running, then all he has to do is just sit back, or how Johan Merlo likes to say, take a chill pill. You know, sit back, macro up, 170, 180 supply of 2-2 bio with a bunch of tanks. You shouldn't lose to Roach Bane. Like, things are going to have to go very #dicey for you to ever lose an engagement with 180, 190 supply.
Yeah,
that shouldn't happen.
I totally agree. There, you know, it's something that every Terran player, if you've ever studied this, if you ever looked into this, you know, if you're playing versus a player who likes to go heavy on Roaches, whether it's Roach Hydra, Roachling Bane, even Roach Muta, between 7 and 9 siege tanks, you're not going to get broken if you have just a couple of Marines to support them for anti-air. They just absolutely annihilate Roaches. You don't push out with 3 or 4 because you get caught in a position. Like, the first time he moved out, he had 4 siege tanks. It's like, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, your splitting is good. But when he's hitting you from so many different angles, your siege tanks, they're not even dealing splash damage. They're individually attacking. And when they do that, they're much slower, and you could almost even say less effective than Widow Mines at that point.
Couldn't have said anything better. Of course, that was a beautiful fight, though, by hendralisk. Once again, credit where credit is due. Wasn't an easy game for him because he was definitely fighting an uphill battle after his original attack. Didn't really do the damage that he was looking for, and definitely did not expect that amount of bio units that early on. But he got a couple of good fights, and I think Illusion kind of played in his hand. I think if Illusion had our vision, he wouldn't have played it like that, obviously. No. But do you think that it was realistic to be worried about something like a hive, or, you know, I guess he hadn't checked or didn't check the main of hendralisk for a while, and he felt that time is the enemy. Because even though hendralisk was trying to secure that 4th base, he didn't even have the drones to saturate that base, and he was still behind in upgrades. There was just not really a whole lot going for hendralisk. The Roaches, Lynx, and Banelings was literally the only thing that he could produce. He didn't even have an infestation pit, no access to hive. You know, There was nothing
That's another
else.
good point. Couldn't even get his 3-3 upgrades. Illusion had access to that from his armory and his engineering base. It's just another advantage you get as Terran if you sit back and then you just scan. You're like, is he going to do something other than Roachling Baneling? Well, let me scan. He still has a lair. Okay, scan is natural. No Hydralisk Den. And even if you saw a Hydralisk Den, if there's still a lot of roaches on the map, you still wait till you get close to 10 tanks as possible, and then you go. You try to hit before Vipers. You try to hit before there's something that can really deal with your tanks like Vipers or Broodlords or... You know, Viper's obviously the fastest solution because you can get them straight once the hive completes, but it's just one of those situations where maybe Illusion was just, he was playing it out like it was Marine Tank, like it was like Marine Mine versus Lingbane Muta, but, you know, it was Marine Tank versus a lot of roaches that could overwhelm those forces in the center of the map. So something he'll want to tune up for the next game. We're going to be playing on...
it was
like
Overgrowth, but then...
map.
We realized we made a terrible mistake because we hadn't played Frost yet in this series. So our admin is like, hey, Red Alert, we're going to rehost Frost right now. Actually, just the wrong lobby was hosted, so we'll host game number 2, which is really going to be played on Frost. No jokes this time. Curious to see if Illusion is going to be able to bring this one back or if hendralisk will win 2-0 and can get himself mentally ready for the second series of the day. You know, if we go on back with what you said earlier, where you think that Alicia might defeat Tootming, that would mean that there is... No, actually, there won't be. Never mind. What I try to say is, like, how often do we see like one player winning the first series of the day and then eventually they play against each other again in deciding match, but then the other guy wins, you know, because it's hard to win 2 series in a row.
That would be pretty cool to see. In this instance, you mean Illusion, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that would be the case for Illusion, but for hendralisk, that would mean that Alicia has to lose, and Alicia looked really solid in his first series of the day against hendralisk.
Yeah.
It's like, these Protoss players, what I think is most impressive about them is they don't... it seems like they don't get really nervous. They don't sweat it. They just kind of do what they think is good. And whatever happens early on, you know, I might get confused, but they still just do what they're supposed to do. And they almost make it look easy. And I play Protoss, guys. It's not easy. Or I'm just really bad.
Well, I've tried playing Protoss. I know it's not as easy as it looks sometimes, guys. I promise you. We're kind of down
at all.
Into the second game. Maybe not quite that hard either, Kevin.
It is really hard. Reverse race, Nate. Want to play my Terran against your Protoss? Could do this.
I'd do it.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. Dirty Oracle user.
I got this sick build involving some Tempest real close to the enemy base, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, I saw this great Terran cast to do the Widowmine drop. I heard it's pretty good. Drop the Widowmine on the ramp, yeah, Nate?
Well, that's actually pretty good versus Proxy Tempest.
I got tricks for days. Alrighty, Frost is going to be our second map. We are getting loaded into this game right now. Is Illusion going to be able to bring this one back and perhaps go on later to play against the loser of Alicia versus Tootming, or is it going to be hendralisk after all? It's going to be Canada versus USA and Zerg versus Terran.
That's right. Our first player spawning in the top right position, representing complexity. It is the Canadian Zerg player, hendralisk. Good old hendralisk. He's been playing a lot in online cups this last year. His opponent in the bottom right position, representing Root Gaming, it is Illusion.
Damn, stars and stripes. I love it.
Right. I don't even know what that symbol is called that he has on his command center, though. It doesn't look like a star or a stripe.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a
flowing star.
It's
for his Ninja Reaper.
Yeah, exactly. I was actually about to say as well that you could do that for a ninja.
That's the Reaper's weapon, man. Instead of firing its pistols, it just throws those.
Imagine the sound effect of that. You're like, tick, tick. That was sick.
I'd say like I only know like throwing weapons like shuriken or something, but I feel like I get called out. Some guy like tweeted me, be like, "No, it's a completely different, wrong weapon. It's got three things in it. It's not shaped like a star at all." Drone scout, so he's expecting 2 racks.
Yeah, he's checking in middle of well, checking on both sides of the side blocker, because how often do we see drone going, nothing to see here, and then you were so close to spotting 2 Rexes on the other side of the side blocker. I must say I really like how hendralisk is playing this. He's definitely leaving nothing up to chance.
No. That's if you're up 1-0 in a series like this against Illusion, and you know, hey, obviously in a game where I felt behind, I was able to pull it back. Might as well make sure it just gets to that stage again where I can win with better decision making and potentially, depending on, I guess, the army compositions clashing, engagements. So I don't find this surprising at all. Illusion's gone command center first, so he's completely turned the dial the other way towards economic opening.
I hope for Illusion, just for his confidence as well, and for his spirit, that he brings it back and that we are going to see a game 3, and above all that he shows us how good he is, because I feel so far to display his true skill. He was a little nervous in game 1 on Habitation Station. took way more damage from a couple of banings than he should have. Game 2 against Tootming also a little unfortunate, you know, losing the Reapers. Just, you know, one split moment, you get punished for it so hard. First the Reapers, then the Hellions. And he was just not really able to display. In the last game, he just kind of played it out wrong, which can obviously happen. But he's still a fantastic Terran player, and we have seen that so many times in the past. I'll never forget his run back then at MLG Providence, or even at IPL. Was that 5 or 4?
I think it was IPL 4, yeah.
Yeah, IPL 4, one of the most stacked tournaments ever, the one that Alive won. Illusion also just played fantastic, and back then he was still so much younger than he currently is.
That was such a crazy tournament. That was like the first time I heard about him. I think he was even still on Vile at that point.
Yep, no, he was.
He beat Oz with like Mech. He's one of the first Terran players to bust out some of those crazy builds. What did he do? He did like a building armor bunker rush timing with siege tanks against Protoss as well. That was my favorite.
Illusion and Sase were actually the two foreigners that were the best performing foreigners at IPL 4. Well, everyone will always remember that tournament as the breakout tournament of Scarlet, as C obviously did really fantastic as well. And
but she won. She got there off the Playhem tournament that sponsored someone to go.
Yeah, so it was like a unique story, like the online player coming offline, being amazing, and it was. But of course, Illusion and Sasa were really amazing that tournament as well. Either way, Bunker is going down. That was just a brief history of Illusion's career. Since then, like we said, it had many ups and downs. A few times he wasn't too motivated. He was getting a little lazy. Even at a short adventure on Mouse Sports, unfortunately that didn't really work out the way they had planned. I think he was only there for a period between 3 and 6 months.
Yeah, not terribly long. Zergling speed is on the way though for hendralisk, as he's already got his third base set up. So this is one of those positions where he's going to have access to a nice bit of map control. Illusion going Hellions in a starport. This is the first we've seen of this opening from our Terran player today. Maybe this is the map. Maybe this is the map where he does it, Kev.
We will see. Zergling speed more than halfway done. Again, hendralisk expanding towards the center of this map. Perhaps doesn't want to worry about this cliff, which can be extremely annoying in pretty much every matchup, but I guess especially in this one. Terran's, of course, the ability to drop everywhere. So what do you think Illusion is hoping for with the opening that... Okay, we see Armory going down as well.
Yeah, it's going to be Hellbat drops, man. Hellbat drops. He's building a tech lab, so he could actually, in the time it takes to build the Armory... Yeah, he's going to start good Medivacs, and he's going to start Stim. So I wasn't sure if this was a build that was going to lead into Mech, but this could also just be Hellbat Marauder timing as well.
Yeah, well, first Marauder is being fired up immediately, so he definitely might be onto something. First Hellions are making their way across the map while hendralisk tried to figure out what's going on, but he was not able to see anything up to this point. There are 7 roaches on the way, but for now it's just going to have to be these queens that will push these Hellions back. Actually, what a lucky shot from those Hellions, did you see that? Yeah, he shot at the queens and he got the 2 more.
That's pretty sweet. Gets a few drones as well. This is a situation, though, where you really don't want to lose those Hellions. Of course, they gain so much more utility once that armory is done, and by the way, it's done. You're just waiting for the Medivacs now if we can get that,
he did lose one there,
drop
though, right?
action going. Yeah, he lost 1 Hellion.
I mean, he got 3 drones. Probably not worth it.
I mean, you know, it's 150 minerals for 100 minerals, but also it delays the mining, right? That's 3 drones worth of mining that you'll never get the money for. So it's not terrible. But imagine if you have that extra Hellbat. I guess it doesn't matter because he has enough Hellions that he can still transform and fill the 2 Medivacs that are done now. So
yeah, you're right. Maybe he's having a different push in mind than us. It wasn't the worst trade and wasn't the best trade of all time. Well, we're going to see perhaps 4 Hellbats being dropped in the natural and the other Hellbats or Hellions just swinging towards his third base. And then
there's already roaches out on the map too, so this could get a little dicey for our Terran player. Most of the roaches are at the third base, and here come those Hellbats.
Oh, all of the drones are so stacked up as well. I have no idea where they came from. Perhaps they just hatched out of those larvae, because there were a lot of drones on the production tab.
Well, the queen dies too. This is really smart play. You know, when people used to do this all the time, spine crawlers are on the way. But when people used to do these Hellbat drops all the time, I always thought to myself, like, they focus on getting the drones, but really, if you target down those queens, your Medivacs can stay standing for so much longer. And
oh, this is a nasty...
Stim's about to complete. He's got 3 Marauders.
He's got 46 army supply as well.
I found my new ladder build, Kev.
Yeah, this can actually really catch hendralisk off guard, especially because he lost those 5 drones. He's like, oh, I lost a couple of workers. I'm going to have to replace those workers. So he's morphing more larvae into drones. Even now, it's just nothing but drones on the production tab. It's 8 roaches against 5 stim marauders with 4 medivacs, 8 hellbats, and 5 hellions. I don't think that hendralisk is ever going to be able to keep this hatchery alive.
It's going to be really tough because he's producing drones just now, starting a few more roaches. Marauders are going to stim. He's got 4 medevacs worth of heal. He drops the Hellbats onto those roaches, covering their retreat path. They can't cut, and
well done. Sexy play.
That's the smell of some great roach barbecue, Kev.
Really, really well done so far. Excellent execution by Illusion.
Nice
just
build.
Really cool build. And just fantastic execution. I don't think he could have done a whole lot any better. He's going to drop that one Hellbat as well in range with that Queen. So one more Queen will fall. These units that are going to hatch over here will pretty much die immediately with Marauders and Hell.
Just watching this makes me feel warm and toasty on the inside, Roddy.
It makes you Terran heartbeat double time, doesn't it, Nate?
You know it. You know it. Roach speed's almost done. 1-1. Coming close to completing. So if hendralisk can not die to this somehow, he will definitely have a nice place. And look at this. He's actually in a position to hit the Roach Warren, bringing over more units. The Banelings come in, but he splits his Hellbats in true Illusion style. And the Marauders are going to focus down on these Roaches.
This is just, everything here is fantastic against Roaches. Stim Marauders, Hellbats, and even those Hellions will soak up a few shots. Just a great push, great execution, awesome build by Illusion, really using what the patch has changed, and that's awesome as well. You know, there is a new patch, cool, let's experiment with it, let's see what we can do. Eventually he will pick up these units, but obviously he has plenty of units at home. This was just the icing of the cake.
Oh yeah, this was the tip of the iceberg, I'd say, Roddy. He's got a huge push ready, and I wasn't sure if he's going to pull SCVs with this, or they're going to the third base. That would have gave me real... That would have really just drove me crazy.
Yeah, real awesome play so far by Illusion. Really interesting build, excellent execution. There's nothing more to it.
Right now, I'm waiting for the medevac Hellbat SCV all in, because you can repair them with SCVs while they're being healed. And this is unkillable.
I don't want to hear about it. I've always thought it's unfair. You know, units should be either healed or repaired, not both. Come on, like SCVs. What are they? Are they humans or are they cyborgs? Can be both.
All right, let's see how Illusion feels about that. He's moving in Marauders, Marines. There are Banelings, though. Just needs to be careful with how he splits. And as they come in, the splits look solid so far. Still, many Marines, many Hellbats, and Marauders alive. And these medevacs just giving all of that healing. He's found a way to make it so 6 medevacs have no energy. And cleans up this wave. But, you know, he has lost a lot of the steam in this push. But look at the supply. GG. Illusion takes game number 2. That's what I wanted to see out of Chris Lee. That's what I wanted to see out of him.
That game lasted 13 minutes and 37 seconds as well. That is a sign for all you Terran players out there.
Oh, was it exactly that long?
At least it was on my game time. Maybe it's 1 second less in this course.
It's officially the elite build.
It is pretty elite. Awesome, Nate. I think we said pretty much all about it. That's the kind of stuff we want to see from Illusion. And I think he did a couple of things real cool as well. Flying those Hellbats in, dropping them behind the Roaches. Those Roaches were quite clumped up as well because hendralisk was like, all right, I want to wait. I don't want to fight now. And Illusion is like, well, I decide when we fight, not you. And he's dropping those Hellbats. And those Hellbats getting extra shots off on additional Roaches with the splash damage. Just really well done.
Dude, that build was actually really cool, the way that he executed that. I mean, I will say that there wasn't like an Overlord or anything that was able to get in and see it, at least from what I could tell, but that's a really cool build using the new patch. I like it. I'm gonna do that build a lot, actually, on ladder. I'm really impressed by how well that worked. Maybe Hellbats are just that good. People are learning again.
There is a reason why we did nothing but Hellbat dropping for a while, Nate. I mean, of course, back then they were even sicker with the Blue Flame Hellbat real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Nightmares.
My favorite part about the Blue Flame Hellbat patch was that when they added the upgrade, because originally the Hellbats did a lot of flat damage, but their flames were still just red. You couldn't make them blue at first. It was really upsetting.
Oh, really? Yeah. Even when they got the upgrade?
Well, the upgrade didn't affect them at first, because they had like mega damage by default.
I even forgot about that. All I remember is the Warhound.
Don't mention the Warhound.
The Warhound was great.
We don't talk about the Warhound here.
Hashtag we missed the Warhound is like buried somewhere in Area 51. It's like a hidden state secret. We don't want to talk about it anymore.
No, that goes against.
It gave people a couple of good laughs, and TVT was definitely quite something.
I think the first time I ever saw a Warhound, if you guys don't know, it's like a unit removed in the StarCraft Heart of the Swarm beta. It was a proxy factory build. I played a TVT on that weird ice map that had like destructible rocks all over the place.
Yeah, I know.
I think I played versus Avilo. He made one Warhound and pulled all his SCVs and killed me. And it's like nothing. It's like you have like 6 Marines. No.
It was really fun as well because even in TVP there were like these crazy Warhound pushes with SCVs. And then I would go one gate in base Stargate, defensive Void Ray, and still like betting like trying to kill the Marines so the Void Ray could actually clean up the Warhound. That was a sick strat, way ahead of the meta, Nate.
Yeah. Well,
and if they did anything else than the Warhound push, with SCVs, well, I was in a little bit of trouble because I was sitting there with my defensive Void Ray against Terran.
And then they just kill you with Marines.
Yeah, no, it wasn't dark time. Anyway, we are getting ready for game number 3 between Illusion and hendralisk. I think game 1, Illusion showed perhaps some nerves again, a little bit of indecision as well, a couple of strange decisions throughout the entire game, but game 2 was much more solid from start to finish. It felt like he had a plan and he executed it as well as he could have possibly done. So game 3 should be a slugfest. It should really be both players going all out, knowing what to expect. hendralisk now knows as well that it's going to have to double scout for everything because Illusion is still Illusion.
Yep, that's right. And Illusion can still bring out some pretty crazy strategies, waiting for that game 3 to be hosted. Do you know what the map is for the final game of this best of 3?
I am wondering. I'm gonna see if something is going on. Was waste? No, I don't think right now. I'm not sure if our admin is here because everyone is like, go, where's game 3? And I'm like, kind of like, hey, where's game 3? Game 3, go.
Let's let's find out what the map is and get a little bit more.
I mean, we can speculate. It's definitely not going to be Altasim Stronghold. That would just be crazy. Illusion is crazy, but he's not that crazy. He vetoed Overgrowth as well. Then Henry probably vetoed. Do you think he vetoed Way Station? No, I don't think. It could be Way Station. No, sorry, not Way Station.
Way Station was the
I meant Habitation Station. That's map 3.
Maybe. Yeah, it actually got me thinking back to Tudming versus Illusion. I realized that if they didn't play Frost and Illusion didn't veto Frost in this series, then we know that Tudming vetoed Frost in their series, no?
Is Tudming that type of guy?
Tudming is that guy to veto Frost in this group.
Well, what else? It is going to be King Sejong Station. Okay.
All right. I can dig it.
I definitely dig it. I think it's actually my favorite map of the Neil maps. In a weird way, I like Merry-Go-Round too. It's just kind of my guilty pleasure. I'm not sure why, because I know you see a lot of one-sided games on the map, and some strategies are too good on it, and some strategies are perhaps not all that good. But I kind of enjoy Merry-Go-Round, but I definitely think that this map has provided us with so many awesome games already. Even yesterday, when Nate and me casted some PvP games between POC and State for the Battlegrounds qualifier, was a crazy game.
Yeah, that was actually probably one of the most ridiculous PvZs I've seen in a while. Definitely worth checking out. I think King Sejong Station is a cool map. In Terran versus Zerg, there's some weird times. I think we saw Violet busted out in his group, the heavy roach play using the multiple ways that you can attack the natural expansion and later on the potential 3rd or 4th base. But overall, I'd have to agree with you. I probably like myself Merry-Go-Round more. At least for Terran vs. Terran and Terran vs. Protoss, but that's also because I love to Widowmine drop every single game. So there's that.
Yeah, it's a great map, and I would love to see this one play out in the long run as well, because I think if both players are able to drag it to the late game, we might truly see, who is better in crisis management, who is better when there's just action all over the place. And they're both pretty fast players, but I think that's really where Illusion can shine. He's not the type of player that sits back and then moves out with an army, and even though his splits are good, I think he's much better when things get really crazy. Send medevacs here, split Marines there, try to focus off, snipe some buildings. I really hope we see a game like that, and I think it would be awesome.
Illusion's the player that always scores all the style points on the team. I can't think of a more concise way to describe his play style.
I couldn't neither. I think our players are ready. I'm ready as well, and I'm the host the lobby, so I'm just going to fire this up. Game number 3 of our losers match. Hate to call it a losers match, but both players did lose in the first round. Is coming up right now. Is it going to be hendralisk or is it going to be Illusion that will move on to play against the loser of Alicia versus Tudming, which is of course going to be our next series. So we switched up the order of the games. Hopefully it's not too confusing for you guys, but basically if you lose here, your WCS America Premier League Season 2 comes to an end. If you win, you still have hopes of making it to the round of 16, securing yourself an extra $1,000, securing yourself an extra 100 WCS point, and above all, securing yourself that ticket to Southern California to hang out with Nate and me at the Golden Coast. What more could a man wish for, Nate? Nothing. That's it. Everyone wants that. The city which is going to win the Stanley Cup this year. Ain't that right, Nate?
Yep. Yep. All right, spawning in the bottom right position, we've got a red Terran player who just tied the series up, making use of those units that make everybody feel warm and fuzzy as they burn alive. It is Chris Lee, a.k.a. Illusion. And those Hellbats, they went to town on our Zerg player in the top left. Representing complexity, it is hendralisk.
I think this patch will go down in the history books as the comeback of the Hellbat.
Yeah. Well, I'm still upset I haven't seen a crazy amount of Hellbats. You know, Innovation is one of the players that was known as abusing the Hellbat more than anybody else.
Lucifron was a very good Hellbat dropper as well.
Lucifron was a good Hellbat dropper too. But Innovation's won like his last 14 matches I think he's played in ATC. I've not seen a single Hellbat from him. He's actually like, I've been seeing him only playing like Marine Mine again, which is really weird for me. And of course we can see that hendralisk really does not want to get 2-raxed. I think I like started talking about the 2-rax and then all of a sudden he's like really paranoid scouting for it.
You mean that he was watching the broadcast?
No. I just feel like we both feel it coming. I'm surprised. I'm really impressed.
If I was hendralisk, I would have definitely been watching Illusion versus Tutming. There's nothing against it. It's a stream. I would always watch those games. It's part of the tournament. And why wouldn't you want to see a potential next opponent of you?
You think that's why there's no habitation station in the series? Maybe.
I mean, I don't think that he has to worry that much about lifting up to the gold base. You know, because if you know it, you can just pull an ST or whatever it was. Just send your first drone over and then see the drones fighting the SCVs.
I guess there's that. Gas on the way after the hatchery first, so he will have a very quick Zergling speed follow-up. And Illusion, well, we see that he's going for a command center first yet again. And no, okay, there's the gas. I was going to say, if there was no gas, then perhaps we would have a super fast third base as well.
Never change the winning team. Illusion has won his first game of the day on Frost with command center first, so why wouldn't you try to do the same thing all over again? How likely do you think that he's going to do everything in the same way? Do you think that is possible? Do you think? I mean, the rush distance on this map is already a lot larger, at least by ground.
The question that I would ask is why not? Hellbat drops or Banshee play are a really great way to try to take control of the pace of a game, really get momentum going in your favor. And versus a Zergling speed opening, yeah, there's going to be gas to build roaches with, but you know, if you can force a Zerg player to build roaches before they have a lair, you really slow them down a lot, and it is so nice. For when you're playing Terran versus Zerg, okay, if you can make sure to hit your barracks production timings back home, making your Zerg opponent build roaches that actually can't go over and kill you is probably one of the best feelings.
But I guess the main reason why you wouldn't do it in the exact same way is because the rush distance by ground is just so much larger.
Yeah, but the air rush distance is really nice from natural to natural.
For the Hellbat drops, it's great. For that first original drop that he sent out with those 2 medevacs and those 4 Hellbats, that's going to hit perhaps even harder than it did on Frost. But
it reminds me of that one map. I can't remember what it was called. It was really early in Wings of Liberty. It was one that Huck did like the tutorial video on the Mothership Rush, where like the air distance was super close from base to base. We had to walk all the way around the map to get to them.
Desert Oasis.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You mean it had like this?
There was like
this desert tile set, right? Very bright, like white, gray.
I don't know if it was desert, but there was like a big space in the center of the map between the two of them.
With a Zelnaga watchtower.
Yeah.
Well, and you had to go in like an S round over the ground to get there. Yeah, that's Desert Oasis. It was a great map. Even though taking your natural.
It would have been a good Hellbat drop map.
Later on, they added the rocks. You mean, right, to that map because it was too open, and then they got some destructible rocks on the bottom and top side of the map to make expanding a little easier.
Sure. Let's go with. I wasn't playing.
I'm pretty sure you're talking about that map. He did it on the Steps of War as well. Since we're talking about a Mothership Core rush, he did it. I think. Oh no, he did it on Delta Quadrant, or that was a carrier rush. Huck has done so much silly stuff in the past and was always awesome. I think he made a Mothership Core rush against Tarason on Steps of War. Those were the days. It was beautiful. After a sick probe micro early game harass.
Yeah. So Illusion's taking a fast second gas, but it's not quite as fast as the last game. He got his 3rd command center at a super quick time as well. This does kind of look identical, but these 2 engineering bays, well, they paint a little bit of a different story. It's going to be much closer to that standard setup. 1-1, get stim, biome, later production, not as powerful of a harass.
We might see this because so far this is a little similar to what we saw on Overgrowth from Illusion. Of course it's different because on that map he opened up with the 3 Reapers and this time his command center first. Do you think he's going to throw down a ridiculous amount of Rexes again and just at least still try to give this like an Illusion touch, as we all know that he is a creative player. Illusion, not like someone like Major. Major watches the best Korean Terran players play and he's like, alright, that's the way that the game is supposed to be played. I'm going to practice that build and try to copy it as good as I possibly can. And I feel Illusion is always just like the guy that sits behind his PC and is like, I wonder what could work, and then he just comes up with stuff. These Hellions actually going in pretty deep behind enemy lines. Shooting down a couple of these links, might get a few drones, but these Hellions, there should be no way out for them.
Yeah, I mean, he's killed a few Zerglings. Oh, these drones are stacking up, and He wants to cook something, whether or not it's with Hellbats.
Drones really stacking up. This is actually relatively successful. Let's take a look at the damage that has been done. 9 drones have fallen for 4 Hellions. A little bit of mining time lost as well. And a lot of Zerglings being forced out. What do you think, Nate?
Not bad for 4 Hellions.
Well,
I mean, did he make any more beyond that? Yeah, so he made another 4. So he has a little bit of map still, but yeah, there's a lot of barracks being added, Kev.
Yep, and I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, like you said before. 4 Rexes now, we might see a few more being thrown down, even might see 1 starport and then just a few more. All of these Zerglings are going to counterattack. This is going to be really important that Illusion takes care of his Hellions, don't lose them. But actually hendralisk has decided to change his mind. He's going to drone up and he's going to keep the Zerglings on his side of the map instead. He will see these Hellions because of his excellent Overlord positioning, by the way. I must say, hendralisk has definitely done his homework on this map. Great Overlord spread.
Yeah. It's very nice to be able to spot anything that can come and try to attack you. He's getting his lair. These Hellions taking some paint damage from these Zerglings.
More than just paint damage, Nate. I'd be very sad if this happens to my little car.
Just roll him into the shop, Kev. He's still got them all alive. He's going to get poked into this little choke.
These Zerglings are going to kill everything.
It's a no parking zone, Roddy.
That's when you get towed. Or eaten. Or ate by Zerglings. Either way. Armory went down in the main base. We see Starport on the way as well for Illusion. He is able to go 3 bases. Again, he has a little bit of a Sim City, exactly the same way as he did on the Way Station. And even on Overgrove, where he gets 2 supply depots and 1 bunker. That's pretty well protected. Even though it's kind of fake, there's only a single Zergling in. Might rally a few more Marines. Why did I say Zergling? I mean Marines. Damn it. Confusing.
Yeah.
TVZ hard matchup to cast, Nate.
Meh. 2-2 on the way for Illusion. 1-1 on the way. So the upgrades are actually like ridiculously behind for hendralisk. Illusion, I feel if he goes for any drop harass, it has like potential to be really, really effective just because he should be able to trade well with just Marines versus Lings, but he's kind of being held back by, obviously waiting to get this production set up. And look at Roach speed and Baneling speed, I think, still kind of give me a weird vibe with this game, though.
Yeah, hendralisk really digging that style. Excellent, a lot of creep domains being active now, so I think he's going to really work on his creep thread in the next 2-3 minutes. I must say, beautiful base layout by Illusion. All of these Rexes are so well lined up. But overall, you have to dig Illusion's position. Normally, if he makes it to this stage in the game, without being behind, he should shine. This is what he's good at. It will all come down, of course, to how many Mutalisks will we eventually see. But right now, there is no money at all for Mutalisk. It's unlikely that we'll suddenly see a lot of them that can really deal a lot of economic damage on the other side of the map. And this push that's moving out, army supplied 65 against 43. If hendralisk has hopes of defending this base, these Banelings, they need to be the real MVPs.
Yes, they do. First one detonates on a few of these Marines. He does clean up all but one of them. Escapes into the medevac. And I like that he's spreading his forces out. He's trying to bait this army down the ramp, or at least slowly trade off these Marines into the Banelings. He's just trying to be cost effective, and Illusion sends a few more. Look at that burrow. Did he see the burrow?
Yeah, I'm sure he did. He had the medevacs as well.
Thor
is here on the south side of the map. Oh.
Not bad use of that.
He's just like, let me stand on it. I'd rather lose 4 than a lot more.
Just step on the button to trigger it.
Oh, yeah.
Overlord gets killed. You just wanted to watch.
2-2 is about to finish up though for Illusion. It's just 1-1 I believe for hendralisk on his side of the map. More and more bio units are streaming north. Army supply still in favor of Illusion, 88 against 60. Now we have 2 Mutalisks on the production tab, which I find very confusing because those are not really going to be the game changers over here. They will not even have enough damage to shoot down a single medevac.
I like that Illusion's broken down these rocks. He's made sure that there's no way that hendralisk can move forces to the left side to surround him. It's kind of neat.
This is going to be really tough for hendralisk. Of course, walking up this ramp is difficult for a Terran player as well. Has to worry about burrowed Banelings and a lot of other things. And he wants to make sure that he doesn't get surrounded. Slowly but steady, the Muda count is going up. But there is a Tor that's making his way across the map. Even a bunch of siege tanks. What a cool little push over here by Illusion.
He's got a lot of tanks and Hellbats coming to join this force. And I really like that. Siege tanks are exactly what he needs versus this composition. You set these siege tanks up on the low ground, all of a sudden, you have a really hard time getting this Terran player off your back. How is
hendralisk going to get a good engagement over here? I'm very worried actually for our Canadian Zerg player. There's a single Mutalisk, a Spinecrawler, a few Roaches and Banelings. That definitely looks like a campaign attack over there. We're just like, let's get 1 unit of everything, which doesn't really work like that. But this is a great push by Illusion, and I'm just not sure how hendralisk should go at this. I think the best thing is avoiding, but he's going to try, Nate.
He's coming in from the right side with some Zerglings as well. He takes out the front line, but there's so many Marines and siege tanks behind this. All the Banelings killed, just one burrowed one next to this hatchery. And as long as Illusion doesn't step on that button, he should be okay.
Even if he does, a single Baneling is probably not going to be enough. Oh.
Still scary. Okay.
It's the upgrades, man.
Underwhelming.
Yeah. It's +1 Banelings against +2 Armored Marines. 150 against 189, but 120 army supply, and there is just no way for hendralisk to really put on any pressure on the other side of the map. There are 3-3 upgrades on the way as well for Illusion. I really think that we're looking at Illusion perhaps getting a shot at redemption against either Tutming, or maybe he's going up against Alicia for the first time. We'll find it out in the next series, but this is going to be very, very difficult for hendralisk. I'm just not sure.
Really impressed with how well Illusion recovered after that first game, but here comes Henry's last chance trying to push this army away. The Banelings crash into Marauders. Plenty of Marines still behind this as those siege tanks lay waste to the roaches on the ground. 4 Banelings being made. He only has, he has no other Banelings. That's it, just 4 being produced. How can he kill these Marines?
I have no idea. There are Marauders as well. There are still tanks. I believe that Thor is still alive in the back of this army somewhere. Milliscan is actually going up quite a bit now. There are not that many Marines in the front. 1 or 2 Banelings are destined for greatness, as they will take out quite a few of these Marines, but it's just a river of red going north this time. And this one Tor is over here as well. Will the Tor be able to do something? Are there any Marines coming? Yes, there are, and I think these Marines will keep this Tor alive.
Yeah, reinforcements coming in for Illusion to swat down those flies, and GG is called. Our American Terran player will advance on into the final match of the night. He will play against the loser of our next series, the winner's match between, well, a Protoss and a Zerg.
Yeah, unfortunate for hendralisk, who has showed us some fantastic games in WCS America Challenger. It felt like today was just not really his day. He tried something creative against Alicia, and it was really cool, especially the game on Overgrowth, but it just all didn't really connect the way that he was hoping for, also because Alicia just defended perfectly. And game 1 against Chris, it almost felt like, you know, no problem over here. He was playing solid, he was shutting down, he was doing what he was supposed to do, even after being on the back foot for a little bit, after the way that that game opened. So you had the feeling that, okay, if this is a normal game where he can actually open with a strong economy, he should be fine, but Illusion just played very, very well in game 2 and 3.
Yep, really fantastic play by Illusion. I love how he went into that Hellbat play on the second map. It's like a build you keep in your pocket, and you're like, okay, you know what? I really need to win a game. I'm going to bust this out because I know it's strong, and I know that if he doesn't react perfectly to it, it's going to give me a huge advantage. And the best part about the build that Illusion did in map 2 is that it sets up game number 3 so well. hendralisk had that Roach Horn really early on, despite not needing it to defend. He was behind in upgrades because of the investments that he made into that, getting his lair fast, his Baneling nest early, and he didn't really do anything with it. Illusion had the upgrade lead pretty much the entire game, and when you make pushes like that with an upgrade advantage, there's not really any way that you're going to get Illusion off of your 4th base.
Yeah, Illusion, of course, also gaining a small economic advantage after those Hellions were just swinging in. Not normally what you expect, because we always emphasize on how important it is to keep those Hellions alive. But those Hellions, they went YOLO spec, man. They rolled up that ramp and they killed 9 drones. They killed a few Zerglings, forced out even more Zerglings, while he's sitting on 2 command centers behind that. So he's like, cool, I'm having the time of my life. There's one question I still want to ask you about that last game. If hendralisk takes his 4th base on the north side, you know, near that Zelnaga watchtower, instead of on that high ground, are we looking at a completely different game? Is he able to shut down that aggression a lot quicker?
I think it's still a really good position to siege from, because I've seen this a few times. Just imagine he puts the Thor, those siege tanks, and a few Marines by where the watchtower is on the high ground. He still has a phenomenal position to shell from and continue to poke. The only thing it maybe does is allows hendralisk to attack him from behind as well. Like, gives him a larger angle to try to get the surround from, but it's still hard if you're behind to defend a push from there.
But you mean that he's basically getting mech units all the way on the top side of, on like the top of the cliff?
Like when you, yeah, because you just send them to the right. Like, they don't have to go too far. If the Thor is there, you can't send the mutas to the side. And
it's still a little bit of a detour.
Yeah,
like, it takes way more time.
It's a bit of a detour. It's easier to put the tanks on the low ground. I don't think it would have been the game changer to take his 4th there. There were too many things I feel going for Illusion that game.
All right, either way, congratulations to Illusion. We are going to see him once more later today, but for now we are going to head over to a very small commercial break, and after that we'll be back and we will figure out who is going to be the first player advancing to the WCS America round of 16. Is it going to be Axiom's Alicia, or is it going to be Zenith of Origins Tutming? We'll find out after the next commercial break.